So this session, we're going to be talking about what does the math need to look like in order to successfully run an event in a business that is fueled by workshops, events, webinars, all the way up to live seminars, masterminds, and what are the things that you need to be thinking about in order to accurately think through these things. And so I'm going to probably, my goal here is to actually have your brain open up the creative juices that you actually can spend more to grow your business faster when you're thinking about it accurately. Okay. So number one is, and then we'll cover the math and then my thoughts about how to fill each one of these events as if like you and I were sitting here having a consultation on it right now. Okay. So number one is you always got to start with the end in mind. So who do we want at our events? This goes back to the last module where we talked about creating your $50,000, $100,000 offer and then reverse engineering the pathway of getting people there. So if I'm running it, because people will say, like, what kind of budget should I have? What should I think through? The way we always used to think about it was if I'm running a live event and say it costs like $5,000, $7,500, you're probably going to have to spend 1,500 bucks to get them there. Now, if you're only spending 500 bucks to get them there, that's even better. The reason is because let's say you're running a booking call funnel, and it costs you anywhere between 150 to 200, $250 per booking for call booking, right? One out of five, one out of 10 buy the product or offer. There's your numbers, right? 250, one out of five, you're looking at about 1,000 bucks per sale. If it's higher than that and the conversion rate's one out of 10, you're now looking at 1,500 to 2,500 per sale. And the thing about it that you should really think through is that if your lifetime value, if you have something bigger to sell to them, is more than that, you really want to ask yourself, how do I spend as much as humanly possible? What if you spend 5,000, got a $7,500 buyer? They come to your event and you get 30 guys in the room, and 15 of those guys now sign up for your $30,000 a year program. You just spent 5,000, you spent 5,000 times 30, 150,000, and now your total gross margin revenue is an extra 15 times 30, $450,000. So you spent $150,000, you net ended up self-liquidating that with the 7,500, and and plus you had $70,000 in revenue there. So you got about $500,000 at about an 85% profit. I don't love those numbers. I wouldn't spend 5,000 to get a 7,500 one, but I'm just giving you an idea of if you did, that's a massive win, and you'd be able to go into a market very rapidly and all of a sudden come out of nowhere and everyone's like, man, where did this guy come from or where did this gal come from? That's very gutsy, and that's how you get stuff done really fast. Now, on a more accurate level, let's go back from just starting out all the way. Actually, let's stay at the seminar thing because the seminars are really important and tenses are really important. It's going to cost you about 100 to about 150 bucks per day per butt in the seat, which means if you're running a 2-day event, it's going to cost you 250 bucks, 300 bucks, 400 bucks, maybe 500 bucks for every single attendee. Why? Because you're providing them something in the morning, you got lunch, take them out to one dinner. That might be a $100, $120 per person dinner. Who knows? Like there's drinking involved and stuff like that. Just think through that a little bit, right? Again, if you're spending 1,000 bucks to get a client, spend another 500 bucks to cover your overhead, you're charging 3,000 to 7,500. Those are not bad metrics. You'll do that all day long, wouldn't you? Okay. So that's the other side of that. Now, whether your goal is to have 5 in a room, 15 in a room, 30 in the room, we got to work ourselves all the way back to present day. Now, if you're just starting out, you don't have anyone run ads or you barely know ads, and you're going to run your first workshop, you literally could take everything we've gone over already today, create an offer, say for 5,000, 7,500 bucks. This would be like the done with you event model, which I love. The other model would be you're going to go in our 8-week accelerator, which is you can do different pricing models like 500 a week, 250 bucks per week, 1,500 a month. And then it goes up after that. Month two, it's 2,500. And then the next month, you'd roll into our mastermind. So there's different pricing models you can look at. You just got to pick the one that suits you best. Okay. And what I love doing is a micro event like we're doing right now, and then invite them to a live event. Reason being is because I like being face to face. I like the interaction. I like the intensity of that. So if I had no way to generate traffic, I want to launch something very rapidly, I would just go right down. I'd ask myself, what do I have a database? Do I have a CRM? And if I do, I'd accumulate all those leads. First place I go. And the way I open that up is something very simple. I'm thinking of running a workshop. I'm thinking of working with a few clients to help them achieve this outcome. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to offer a free workshop this week or this Friday at 1 p.m. Here's the topic. And then it's the number one thing you're going to solve without the number one pain they're trying to avoid. Okay. How to get dental implants who are pre-qualified, pre-educated, ready to move forward with full arch treatment without having to generate thousands of low quality leads or waste your chair time and bog you down or ask you a bunch of price driven questions. Dentists hate that. That's a great headline. It's a great search. It's a great topic, right? One of the big things like in PI, personal injury, is how to outmarket, outwin, outbeat the 800-pound gorilla, right? And so those th without having to spend all the same amount of money, right? What I want to do here is, okay, so those are just the headlines. That's the workshop, right? You can launch it for free. Like literally, if you're on this training, going through this training, pick a topic that you're confident you can just deliver with very little prep. You ChatGPT, you go right to ChatGPT, ask them to help outline your first, hey, here's my topic. I'm going to talk about it. Dump it into ChatGPT. Can you turn that into an outline that people would love? And it'll do it for you in minutes, guys. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, if you want to run a webinar or a workshop where you have a lot of cold leads on there, other people in there, people in your database, right? You can simply run, this is the most basic level stuff. Set up a Facebook account, run basic lead gen ads to a webinar or free workshop. You're going to pay anywhere between $5 and $25 per lead. You don't really care the first time you do it. You're just doing it and just give yourself a budget, whether it's 1,000 bucks, 500 bucks, 2,500 bucks. We just want to get people on your webinar. And as Sam was saying yesterday, if you really want to have a pre-event checklist so they can get prepared and get the most out of the event. So for me, if I'm running like for our stuff, one of the things I could give is, hey, how to sell more out of at events, right? And they opt in to get the free thing and be like, for $37, you could get my proven PowerPoint that is copy paste, plug and play that you can use to sell your offer. Okay. A lot of people will grab that because it's a very high value bonus. And then the other bonus you could do, so say you have a $37 offer and you also have a $17 offer. The $17 offer would be the fast start blueprint to achieve the number one goal, like to getting profitable right away with your event. And the secret on these things, when you do a bonus bump, this is a big writer downer. It has to be something that they can consume in less than 30 minutes to 60 minutes. And the reason being is that if they don't consume it before you run the webinar, they're gonna be less likely, or the workshop, they're gonna be less likely to buy because they feel they have more work to do. Okay. Do you remember when Alex asked me yesterday, oh, do you have any ongoing Q&As like after this? And I chuckled and I was like, no, that's not the purpose of this event. If I allow you to keep getting access to me down the road, you have no reason to upgrade into our 2-day intensive. Does that make sense? So that's super duper important. And then for your next upsell, obviously, oh, you wouldn't have another upsell. You could, but you don't necessarily need to. If they're coming in for a free workshop, you have order bump one, order bump two. You could really very rapidly just go to even ChatGPT. I'll show my screen on this. This is how I do a lot of stuff I do, guys. So I go to ChatGPT and these are all my event things. I didn't really want to have to guess a lot. So I just asked ChatGPT, hey man, will you create the math of running this event, right? Now, what I'm going to ask ChatGPT next is, oh, here you go. This is the event profitability metric template, right? So like right here, I asked ChatGPT to create an Excel sheet for me. You could give that away for $9, $7. Would you like to see ours? And watch this. I can go, hey chat, I'm looking for to create a $9 bonus that people who join my free workshop will grab to prepare for the workshop. It can be a cheat sheet, SOP, calculator, guide, or micro training. Would you create some headlines of a possible product for me to sell? Okay. I should have had this ready for you guys. Sorry about that. But now watch, boom, it's just going to go through because it knows all my database because I talk to it every day. 100K offer blueprint, the one-page cheat sheet, crafting an irresistible high-ticket offer in 10 minutes, even if you're awful at creating high-ticket offers. It's not a bad one. And then you get why would you want that beforehand? Because I'm not really good at creating offers, so I can create mine before I ever get on there. Watch this. The high ticket pricing calculator. Find the perfect price in less than 3 minutes. That's really good. You could even take all three of these calculators and templates and just make it into one, right? So anyhow, right, is it perfect? Can we make it better? Yeah, we can always make it better, but we're just trying to get results, right? How to create a self-liquidating off, or here's 21 self-liquidating offers you can use for your event. It's a great one right there. Okay, so those are the things. Now, obviously, what we want to be able to do is self-liquidate. We want to be able to run events and get paid to do that, right? Because the challenge with a lot of events is what is that going to cost to get people in the event, and then what do you end up getting paid before they leave? Very important. That's really your math. And so the question is, I get caught in this chicken or the egg, right? Ed, I want to do an event with 30 people. Okay, 30, that's a $45,000 budget for ads. What? That's crazy. Okay, no, but it's probably about accurate. Like 15, now you can breathe and run ads. So if we had a gun to your head and you had to do that, what would you do? I'd want my own Facebook ads team, like or person, I like an agency or someone like Dan Cashel or Sam Bell running this for me. And then what I can do is I asked ChatGPT to help me out with this is what are 10 ways to get creative for advertising event costs, right? You're also possibly going to want 30 is not a lot. So you can have you can probably find someone on Upwork or to do like event management for you, but you're probably going to want an event manager reaching out to the hotel, dealing with all the tasks because even like doing virtual events, like it's just amazing how many small micro things get lost. And it's man, we didn't think of that. Man, we didn't think of that. Okay, good. Gonna make it better next time. But man, having somebody who's 100% in charge of logistics and doesn't go to sleep until they're happy with everybody has exactly what they need when they need it and they never have to worry about it, that is a different person than most entrepreneurs. Most entrepreneurs are like, I'm going to wake up, figure out ways to grow, figure out ways to grow, figure out ways to grow. So there's a lot of ways to do this, right? Obviously, you can sell things before they get there, right? So one of the big things about selling things before people get there, this is the beauty. This is the beauty of deciding on this kind of journey of I'm going to grow my business with workshops, with webinars, with challenges, virtual events, power days, and intensives and masterminds is that it really is a flywheel. The first one is getting the first couple live are like pushing things uphill a little bit, not from necessarily is it difficult. I'm talking about just momentum with buyers. You're spending money to get a buyer. Once they come in, you then sell people into it. But what starts happening is now your people that have bought from you are say they just bought your $97 workshop, they start being the people who buy your $7,500 item. And then those people start being the people that buy your $30,000 and $50,000 offer. And what's great about it is now you have an announcement list of buyers. There's people that are out there. Oh, I couldn't make the July one, but I can make the September one. So now, before you even run a penny of ads, you're sending out your email and be like, hey, I'm running a 2 day event in Nashville. I'll be down there speaking something. It's 5 grand, 7,500, 10 grand. And people start raising their hands who are already on your list. Guess what you have now? You now have money to put down the deposit, quadruple down on your advertising. And many of you may already have the money, but that might not be the issue. But having attendees already booked and ready to be booked, man, it just changes the dynamic of the whole game. Does that make sense? So it just changes the whole dynamic of the entire game. So anyhow, let me go through this again. So that's one way, that's one reason why getting in and getting busy, trying to do a better job at like being very like choosing this model as a business model and then just getting better and better and better at it. Okay. Sponsors and strategic partners. This is a huge one. Okay. This also speaks to why once you go into a certain lane, the first question you should ask is, okay, who are two or three business owners, businesses who are 10? Watch this. Hey, ChatGPT, what are 10 businesses that would happily sponsor my seminars or intensives where I show coaches, experts how to grow their business with high ticket offers and events? Okay. Now, real quick cheat here is I'm just curious what chat's going to say. Yeah, go high level, ClickFunnels, Kajabi, like those are all the tools that we need, guys. And then it gives you a whole thing, right? Now, what I would do is I would go and look at a competitor who I would just say, hey, can you find a competitor and see what sponsors are on their website? And so they're going to go ahead and do that. Anyhow, so that's how fast chat's going to start working for me. It's specifically on how to show people to grow with like events. Like I'd have to go through some of this kind of stuff, but sponsor category tech, marketing. So maybe my coaches, scaling officers, marketing brand, the BDS agency, blah, blah, blah. So some of my speakers that I've had on, guys, if I had enough people there, like Dan Cashel, he runs a virtual CMO business. Then you have Sam Bell, he runs a partnership business. And then I can go down the list of like merchant accounts, software, and the list goes on and on. Go high level sponsors a lot of things. I don't know if ClickFunnels does. I think they may just do all affiliate stuff, right? But if you make a pitch, right? So Webinar Fuel is one that's on my list of, hey, I know you guys I know you guys have a affiliate program. Would you be open to sponsoring my virtual events? And I'll have you be the sponsor for 3 events, and it's 10K for all 3 events. Ed, we don't normally do that, but this sounds pretty cool. Let me talk to the team and see what I can create. And then they come back and they do it, right? Book publishing. Yeah. Who are all your comparables? This is all very good stuff. Who are all your comparables? So this one's kind of giving me categories more than anything. So that's just my thoughts on that. Let's go back to here. So sponsorships and strategic partners, right? Pre-sell your core offer before the event. Hey, there's a lot to be said for this one, right? Okay. What this is, hey, we are going to, this is the, hey, I'm working with five people this summer. And they jump in and say, hey, guys, I'm going to be showing a small group of people, 5, 12 people, whatever your number is, right? And work with them on a intimate basis to help them craft their offer, grow their audience, and then sell their offer utilizing the power of workshops, events, and Google Docs, right? A hands-free a true hands-free, high-ticket money-making machine. We plan on working with five this August, and this is who it's perfect for. Here's a Google Doc or a small video that describes it. If this is you and you like to apply, click on the button on the page and apply. Now, guess what? You may start getting sales out of the gate, and you're like, oh, cool. So now I'm getting paid to then launch my thing. I love this one because guess what? The worst case scenario is nobody responds, which is fine because your audience, you didn't grow this audience that had this, if it's a newer offer, that you didn't grow this audience off that offer anyway, and it just gives you feedback. So guess what? Next week, launch another offer. And then you're just figuring out where people are responding. In the beginning, you're testing a lot because you need to find out what people are interested in. And even if you're delivering the same thing, you need to figure out what angles are getting the best responses. Okay. And again, this is a great idea. So pre-sell your core offer before the event. Affiliates and JV partners. This is great. It's very difficult to get affiliates and JV partners to promote you without, if they're very heavy data driven and you don't have relationships, you're going to have a hard time because nobody knows you. However, there's a lot of podcasters and there's a lot of people that would love to have you on their podcast or do a free workshop for their students as a method of you creating value. And it's a very sideways sale. If you create value, people are going to want to know more about you. Okay. Just like if you guys want to know more about Rebecca, Dan, Francis, and then I have a couple other bonuses coming out here in a minute, which is different modules of really killers. Yeah, it's pretty incredible, right? So that's like number one and two. I wouldn't waste a lot of time trying to grow an affiliate or JV partnership network until you have momentum off of some of the other items. If you really can solve a problem for a very specific niche, then see if you can get opportunities to go speak at different podcast conferences, and you're going to build your audience a lot quicker if that's the goal. Okay. So let's see here. I'm just going through different ways to get things. Really bring in a partner. Bring in a partner. Bring in a funding partner. If you have initial sales and you have some stuff, maybe you bring in a partner that helps fund some of the ad spend to get you live running and killing it. Even guys that are growing fast will go get a line or go get a funding partner for the growth. Maybe not for the overall business, but maybe there's a very specific arrangement of, look, for $100,000, we guarantee 15% return on your money within 6 months. And that's your pitch and your promise. And that's a great way to start as well. The other thing is to, if you have those relationships of funding partners or strategic partners, people that can drive traffic and help with conversions, if that's not what you are great at, my guess is a lot of you guys, if you're attracted to this, want to speak or be in front of people more, and you're trying to figure out ways to leverage. That's super important. Okay. Now, if you can self-liquidate by doing the opt them in, get money out of the gate, run a webinar that puts them into another lower ticket, like a 497 challenge, 297 challenge, $97 challenge. And that's one of the core frameworks that we teach. It just is. It's a model that you can run it once or twice a month. And every day you can have your webinars going on autopilot using Webinar Jam or Webinar Fuel. Either one of those will work. Okay. And then you use a combination of all this, right? We start self-liquidating out of the gate. We run some stuff. We send our offer out to our warm audience right away. And we start bird dogging who could be some sponsors. If you had two sponsors at 5 to 10 grand a pop, that gives you a nice jump start on ads. If you're self-liquidating and you're running bi-weekly workshops or weekly workshops and you're selling them into something that is 6 weeks away or once a month, that's going to add up pretty quickly. You're going to get momentum very rapidly. Okay. I wanted to cover that. And so that's the math. Now, obviously, I can go more granular. Like, yes, we're looking at cost per lead, conversion rate. In fact, let me pull up one of my webinar Excel sheets that we use. Sorry, guys. Should have this up. Okay, cool. So this is an example. I'm sure I bought this somewhere a long time ago, but like when I work with clients or when if you decide to come out to work one-on-one with us, this would be an example or one-on group with us. This is an example of what a webinar flow would look like, the numbers, like time frame, when did it come in, when was the webinar, what was the opt-in rate, how many total webinar leads. This could be workshop leads. What was our ad spend? How many leads were generated? Cost per lead, cost per ad generated lead. Why? Oh, I'm sorry. Ad generated leads. The reason why we're tracking in this case ad generated leads is because we do utilize YouTube as a lead generation platform. We also use Instagram as a content lead generation platform, right? So those organic leads actually help offset to a lot of the paid ads. I didn't talk about that. That's probably one of the biggest. We might have to do a separate seminar just on that. But one of the biggest opportunities for us right now, for you, me, everybody who's listening, is just really getting better at YouTube organic videos. And then the other thing, if your skill set works with it, the 1 minute Instagram videos as well. Okay. Very good. That goes to ad generated revenue. And then so as you're going to, I don't need to go down this because we're not going to do this isn't a whole training. This is just an idea. But we look at number of bridge sale buyers. Those are the people that buy the $9, 17 or $39. And we do look at what's the back end return on ad spend through it all. So that's webinar stats. I want to see. And then this is what your Facebook ad stats would look like when people are doing that. Okay. Now this says webinar jam, but this could be webinar fuel, whatever it might be. We want to track how many registrants, total attendees, and then how many are still there at the 1 hour mark. Okay, before the pitch. That'll give you an idea of, whoa, what are we doing at that on this webinar that we did differently than the last webinar. Okay. Because if you can get your 1 hour mark attendees high, that means more people are seeing your pitch. And you get all these stats in your webinar jam or webinar fuel. Okay. Now, I know I'm giving you a lot of information. You don't need to have this perfected right now, but these are the things that after you start doing them, you want to look at them to see why you're performing the way you're performing. And one quick note on this, just want to be very clear on this too, is we had a client that brought me in to help with his webinars. And the mistake that he was making was he was using a different webinar every week. Like they would do it again, and they would be measuring the stats, but he was doing it off of blended affiliate traffic. What is blended affiliate traffic? He'd go to, say, an affiliate and then he'd try and get a bunch of people to mail for him, but they would all just get lumped into the same bucket of leads. And we couldn't stabilize one predictable thing. And so there's so many things that needed to be improved, like almost to the point where we should have just rewritten the whole thing. But the point being there was when you're testing this stuff out to fill your rooms, you can't be doing 30 different tests at the same time. It's got to be for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 months. We're going to get better at running a workshop, okay, that we get paid for, that then we ascend people into our next level offer. And that's your model, okay? And then there's an invite with an offer. And then we're just trying to get more people in there that we then make the offer better, stronger, and tighter. Okay. So that's the math. We covered the quick start steps of that is number one is you got to name your offer and you got to name your workshop. Okay. Just name it something super cool. Let's see this. My brain, I've been going for a little bit, getting a little like tired, but we want to come up with a cool name that it's not just like I named ours one offer away challenge. Why did I name one of our offers one offer away challenge? Because you're just one offer away from having another breakthrough. The 10x event profits is behind me. 10x event profits challenge, $1 million events challenge. Like that would grab somebody's attention, right? And then with our offer, we're trying to figure out like our diamond wingman offer. And the diamond wingman would be I'm your wingman and you're at the diamond level, so you're at a higher level. That's how we would name some of that kind of stuff. So see I have the last few things before we flip over to our platinum Q&A. Very good. So with your masterclass, guys, just with your masterclass, one more point there. When you run your masterclass, which is going to sell people into your next level up, and again, your masterclass can be free, or my preference is that if you're out of the gate, run it for free to get your first 20, 30, 40 people, okay? In your flow to experience it. And then we want to get really specific so people are showing up to have the one problem solved. We don't want them showing up thinking that they have to have 30 problems solved. Okay. Like literally, you could say, what's a problem? How to get more paid in fulls for your high ticket offer. That's really specific. You'd have to assume they'd have to be like, okay, they already have high ticket offers coming in. They're already making sales, but their cash flow is not great. That's a weird one. That's a little bit too aggressive. Attention if you've been suffering with if you've been recently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, how to get your blood sugar and insulin numbers under control and get back to and get back to my brain's not really working. So I'm going to stop coming up with the titles, but you'll see where I'm at there on that. Okay. All right. All right. All right, cool. So I'm going to take a 5 minute break and then we're going to come back here and I'm going to walk through exactly. I'm going to show you one other thing, and this is how to create a fast acting bonus that gets your buyers to go to the back of the room. And in that, I'm also going to talk to you about how I can also help you grow your offer business, your high ticket offer, whatever else is you're selling using master classes, workshops, seminars, and events, and what that might look like. Okay, great. We'll be back on shortly and we'll rock this out. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.